something operationally coming down from Police Plaza in that guidance. And I do expect also coming forward in that regard, a sort of doubling down on our efforts at increasing community policing. As it stands now, this precinct, which, if anybody doesn't know the geographical boundaries, is basically 8 avenues across by 27 main streets going north and south. I have 8 officers that are tasked daily with community policing. In my estimation, we need way more cops doing those efforts. This precinct alone used to be 12 to 13 sectors before we divided it down to 4 sectors. So I have 8 cops doing a job that I would like to have 3 times the amount doing. I am hoping with the expansion of anti-crime efforts that those officers will be able to engage in community policing efforts. One issue the police department has suffered through greatly, and I know people, me and Mr. Foster talked about it, is continuity of the officers patrolling your streets. Many of you who remember the streets 10, 20 years ago probably saw the same officer in this neighborhood walking the blocks for 20, 30 years. The way the New York City Police Department is organized right now, the way people move on with careers, the transfer assignments, that continuity has not been there. So what I envision, number 1, is trying to get more officers involved in the community policing. And then number 2, making that a requirement for an officer who wishes to fill these guys' roles, should they get promoted or be picked up for, I guess you would call a preferable assignment, such as the detective bureau assignment. Those officers that wish to be involved in that community policing and that special assignment are not just going to come to me the day that that spot becomes available and say, hey, I'm interested in doing community policing. Community policing is something that should be done from the first instances of the career. I'm going to make it very well known. We have numerous opportunities in this community, toy giveaways, National Night Out, block association meetings. Those officers that are interested in and want to do that type of work need to get engaged before they're actually assigned to do that work. So increasing the number of officers in the 7-9 involved in community policing. Number 4 is I've tasked my NCOs and I'm tasking all my staff with getting more blocks to form associations like this, getting more civic groups associated, and number 3, getting more involvement in the community and the initiatives we already had out there. For those who have not been in the neighborhood for a long time, or who you have, we have a community council. Which basically is a meeting held monthly, the 4th Wednesday of the month, which is held at 585 DeKalb, the Job Corps building right next to Kosciuszko Pool. That's been going on forever. My attendance monthly at those meetings is about 20 to 30 individuals. We've held those meetings, we moved them out of the precincts for a specific reason. They're out in your community, so you can feel safe talking to us, you can feel safe voicing complaints. I am certainly not above criticism. I have a thick skin, I'll stand up there and hopefully I have the right answers for you. If I don't, by the next meeting I'll do better. I encourage, and we're going to actively seek to get more people involved and coming to those meetings and really getting the pulse of the community. But going back to the block associations, we have over 30 block associations in this meeting, in my opinion. I would like to see every block start their own association, because every block, as we know, has their own certain issues, which if you are not bringing those to our attention, and I'm not just talking about 911 or 311, having a face to put with a name, then we don't have the ability to solve the problem. So 30-something block associations that are currently organized. We have over 200 blocks in this precinct. I'd like to see that number get to at least 50% by the time I leave here. Like I said, first block association to call us out here. Pat yourselves on the back for that. This is just the beginning of a relationship with you guys, and hopefully you'll see that what I'm telling you about accountability, responsiveness, and awareness of what is going on out here, you're going to see that coming from me and my officers.
If you have a suggestion that you would like to voice for the 79th and direct to Deputy Inspector, if you will please come to the mic that's right here and state your opinion on what you would like to see. And we would like you to keep it to no longer than 2 to 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
Listen, I've never taken anything for 2 to 3 minutes. That's crazy. First of all, I want to thank you all for coming out here. I'm a member of the Block Association, and I could tell you a lot of things that have gone on in the block. I'm a lot older than I look, I hope. So here's the first thing. 2 weeks ago, we did meet with you. Thank you very much for that. But when we walked into, right as we got into the front of the precinct, I don't know if the rest of the people who came with me remember, but there were a group of police officers right in front of there. They looked at us like if we were mass murderers. They literally gave us the kind of look that made me wonder, why was I here? So my thing that I want you as police officers to do as you patrol our neighborhood is to look at us not as adversaries, but as advocates. You want us to respond to you positively, but then you don't grill me when I'm walking in there trying to set the tone for positivity. Literally, there are young men and women on this block who would be glad to interface with you, but as soon as you come at them, it's adversarial. Not everybody is here to talk about you, curse you out, beat you out. We have young men on this block right this minute today who refuse to come up here because they don't feel that the words that they will say to you will be accepted. What change is going to happen? I kind of feel the same way. I think that this is a good forum, but if you just keep looking at me as a problem, or you keep looking at my son as a problem, or you keep looking at my brother as a problem as he stands out there waiting for his wife in the middle of the night to come from the bus stop, what change can we accept from you? So what I'm saying to you is that there's so much that you do that we don't appreciate in church. And it's happened 2 weeks ago when we walked right into your office, and sat there. There were approximately 6 officers out there. And I know that I'm not imagining it. There were others with me over there. And one of the officers looked at us like, you don't belong. That's a public building. We fund it with our tax dollars. That was unnecessary. We came in, we had a lovely meeting with you. Stop thinking of us as your adversary. You need to look at us as the advocates that we want to be in order to make this community a better place. I think that was 2 minutes.
I apologize, I didn't know if you wanted to respond to that or not.
Okay, you can respond to the community.
So basically, yes. When I spoke about being open and being responsive and taking accountability, I am speaking about the actions of individual officers. Those are times we need to have conversations. One piece of legislation which I failed to mention, which has also been contentious through the years, is the display of names and nameplates and shield numbers. That is now a law as well. So officers have their names and shield numbers. If they are not displayed appropriately, they can be sued civilly and would be responsible for the attorney fees of the person who brought legal action against them. So what I ask you to do is, like say, just how I haven't had an opportunity to meet all the community. I have had interactions with all of my officers, but have I spoken to an individual officer about his engagement with the community, about the way he treats the residents of the community? I can say only a handful. So I need to be made aware of those issues. Like I said, we will have those conversations. We can always agree to disagree on their behavior, but I certainly need to have those situations brought to my attention so I can interact with that specific officer and tell them how they are supposed to be acting out here. I have 240 police officers, 22 sergeants, another 7 lieutenants. I am not with them 24/7, but they certainly have to answer to me. So I ask you to, as nicely as possible, note their names and reach out to me. We'll have those conversations and I'll try to improve the behavior. And obviously it's going to become readily apparent who the community is not supportive of. But I can't address it if I don't know the specific officers' names.
You want to go?
Yes. How you doing? I've been in the neighborhood a long time, and I've seen good cops and bad cops. And here's the thing that I want to educate the youth in is the Fourth Amendment rights. And a lot of your officers know this Fourth Amendment rights, but they violate that. Search and seizure. You cannot come up to me and ask for my ID without a thing. First of all, you have to say your name, your badge number. A lot of officers don't do that. I'm going to educate all my youth and community to do that. You know what I mean? And outside of not doing that, you're going to get sued. I'm going to show them how to do that. And individual cops are individual things. But come in our community, this is our community. Y'all work here, you public service. We pay taxes for you to, do your job. A lot of you guys are not doing your jobs. Sorry to say that. And we are paying a price for that. So in me, myself, and my community, I'm going to educate my youth on our constitutional rights. And I will be going to Saturday night, I'll be doing my constitutional right by filming, recording, and doing all you guys. I'm going to keep an eye on you. When you see me with this thing, I'm going to record you. Do your job. If not, so be it. Have respect. Go both ways. You're public service. You work for us. We don't work for you. Understand that. Roll call. Explain that to your officers. Explain it to them. Thank you very much.
Another piece of evidence, sir. And I'm gonna do it real quick.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, he's ready. I was gonna address this gentleman here. So, sir, you just brought up another piece of information which should be made aware to everybody out here as well. All these bills and legislations, recent legislations are online. That is another one, sir. So recording of police activities, it is now, which has always been the rule, going back 5 years now, we put out mandates to our officers that the public is allowed to record police activities if they are not making physical contact and not significantly engaging in altering their investigation. That is now put into law where if an officer impedes a member of the public from recording at a safe distance, which this gentleman is doing right now, that's a perfectly legitimate and valid behavior in the community. Just as the same thing that I spoke about, the displaying of names and shield numbers, that is now also a grounds where a civilian can sue a police officer. And the police officer can be held civilly liable and can also be required to pay the attorney fees for that individual bringing the suit forward.
One thing that you said that is law now, it's always been law.
It has been a mandate. It has been a mandate.
It's always been mandated by First Amendment.
Of recording of police
Yes,
activities.
it's always been there.
Right.
Right? Fourth Amendment always been there since the founding fathers. So it can't be mandated in 2020 that's been here since forever.
I'm just speaking to the legislation, sir, which now puts it on the books of how the officers are going to be treated if they do not allow those rights to go forward. So hopefully with that, you should see significant improvement in that behavior of my officers. And as I just brought forward earlier, I'm accessible, I'm available, bring those individuals to me.
Got you.
Okay. I'm not?
I got you.
Okay. I just want to say, as a matter of fact, that's my sister that you spoke to as well. I'm going to bring it down a little bit easier for you, because it's a lot easier than you making it. Forget all that stuff about this law and that law and all of that. We don't get we good. What you have to have is empathy. Period. If you teach these gentlemen how to be empathetic to us as black people, because it's a very obvious thing. It's not because we don't like the white people on the block or you gentrification wasn't about that. Gentrification was bringing everybody together. You police it. What is empathy? Empathy is when a pipe hit me in the face in the building around on Bedford Avenue, and they wouldn't call, and we couldn't get an ambulance. A police officer from your precinct came by, and as I'm bleeding in front of Muhammad's store, anybody that knows Muhammad's, bleeding in front of Muhammad's store, the young white lady who had the pipe hit me in the face, they ran to her. People are screaming. Guess what the officer asked me? What's your social? You ask any black person on this block what that means. That means you thought I was a criminal. You didn't care whether or not I was hurt and bleeding all over the street, confirmed by the scar in my face, confirmed by the mother who, after we left, went to the 79th precinct. And guess what they did at the 79th precinct? Every time I come to your precinct to speak to somebody in that community advisor role, I come all the time, and I get to the front door, that's it. You don't get any further. Have no empathy. I was in front of my that just happened the other day, that one with the police. That happened the other day. I walked around here like a slave. I had to hold my paper in my hand for coronavirus to pick up my life at 11:30, 12 o'clock. Do you know a police officer from your precinct?
You know something weird about this? Look around. It should be more people here. You see what I'm saying? That's what the problem is, to be more people.
That's what I'm talking about. All that stuff that you're talking about and the nonsense about the government, forget the government. You come in like the government. So if you're gonna do that, then you have to police your property. Everybody should be equal, but you got to start. You can't start coming in at 12. You have to come in with empathy. What was wrong with the police officer turning to me and say, hey, let me get you an ambulance? Now, what is your social number? Why did the police officer send, we had a meeting with you guys at the black social worker thing. Me and my brother-in-law, God rest his soul, came out, we went, I ran, and we said, you know what? Let's go get some Chinese food because it was late. Do you know that a police officer followed us the wrong way at Bedford Avenue? Tell me my crime. Tell me my crime. What was the crime? What was the crime? What was the crime when a lady, I swept in front of our door because you don't think that we maintain our property. You don't think that we maintain our property, I guess, because we don't know how to sweep and clean, and maybe that's how you police. I'm in front of my door 25 minutes. I'm cleaning. Someone literally walked by my house and tried to have their dog urinate. You hear what I'm telling you? Urinate. Do I have to say who it was? I don't have to tell you that. Do you know they called you? Do they know they called you and told you, your office, that something must have happened? All I said to them is that dog urinated on me. Would you let that dog urinate on your mother? They called you. 8 police officers ran here. You know they attacked me at my door. I came outside. There was a black officer, but this young white was, I don't know who he was. And he said, what did he say? I said, they told me to stand here and let this dog urinate on me. And he said, okay, you can go upstairs. That's policing. But you had 8 people for me, and you didn't have 8 people for people robbing the store. You didn't have 8 people available. You had 8 people. Empathy. Low. Come in low. You got to teach these guys low. They don't live in our neighborhood. You might live in Long Island. You don't know anything about that here. I've been out here since I was, what, 9? Come on, man. You can't tell us about the neighborhood. My sister's absolutely right. There's not that many people on this block that have been here since they were 9. You have to. So we've seen it. Come in low. That's all I'm asking you to do. Don't come in at walk 10 when you see black people. Or don't come in with an attitude when you see black people. We are just like you. I'm calling you to help me. Help. And you couldn't even help me. That's what I have to say.
The only response I can say to that is, first and foremost, sir, I apologize on behalf of the New York City Police Department for any negative interaction you had that day or previously. The one thing I can attest is that the officers that are here with me are engaged in that neighborhood policing. They are specifically chosen. That is certainly not the way I am as a police officer or a human being. I do not believe that is these officers' stance as being a human being. And it's incumbent upon me to get the officers that are under my command to behave in the same fashion that these
Would you be
8
accessible?
officers and myself
May I
are.
ask you a question though?
Sure.
Would you personally,
Yes.
would you be accessible? Because I've come there to speak to the captains. I've come there to speak to, no, I'm not, and this has nothing to do with what happened to me. This is doing exactly what you're doing today. I came to your place to sit down with the officers to find out a solution on how you could come into our community and be part of the community. In other words, what they need to do is start the PAL again. You want to get the kids off the street? Give them some. They don't. You can hear me. I got a big mouth. I got a big mouth. It's part of my family. No, you need to start the PAL. You see how they were talking about defunding you guys? I don't always agree with that. What I think you should do though with the funding you get.
Not a good
is
idea.
maybe put it into the PAL. Do what you used to do before and have the buses pick up the kids. People out of the block. You play basketball. You play football. You play sport. You know we police officers I have are my friends, but I play basketball with all my life. And these guys don't act like that. And they're the ones that tell me to be careful in the street around police officers because that's who they are. This is how it functions. It is systemic. but you guys can stop it. We should be the 79th precinct. Clifton Place should be the best block. I think we have the best ability to do it. We have a lot of diversity on this block. People around this block are very friendly, they're very nice, they're very cool. We should be able to talk to one another. But you have to come in as the boss of this area and say, you know what? Let's go around the block and, hey, how you doing, kid? How's everything? You know how I know that works? Because I've seen it. I've seen police officers, a friend of mine, they walk through neighborhoods with uniform, and they talk to them like I'm talking to him. I've known him for 50, 60 years, right? But they talk, that's how you should be. Come into the community slow, come in low, like low key. Go back to PAL, I'm dead serious about that. You have all this ability to do government, take your money and say, you know what? We're gonna take this much money, we're gonna invest it in the community. Tompkins Park is here. We can start a garden for the kids. We can have a football thing that the police sponsor. It shows that you're human. You have to become human before you can police us. You have to be a human being first. Then you can police us. Then, now I can really do it.
I hope a couple parts of that question. Number one, I hope that I just answered that in the previous question, that I can certainly attest that the reason I'm out here today, this is not a mandated appearance. I am trying to show the community that I'm here to work with you, not against you. And this is going forward. I will say it publicly on this microphone, my cell phone number, which I have about 50 cards in my pocket. I'm going to hand out to anybody who wants it. This phone number is on my nightstand when I go to bed at night. I do sleep, so, you know, I have a 3-year-old, so midnight to 7 a.m. if it's a non-emergency, you can hand these out to everybody in this crowd who wants one.
Your offices
My cell
also have
phone number,
cards.
I'm never in my office, so the cell phone number, whoever doesn't have a pen, 917-573-4231. I will get back to you, I will be responsive, and the way we're going to address individual officers who need to understand their role in this community and how we're going to move forward is for them to be identified to me so I can have individual conversations, not addressing a roll call of 40 to 50 people about what I expect. Sometimes when they have to come to meet the boss, we may ultimately see a change in behavior.
Across the street.
And if that behavior is not changed, and we have proof that that activity is occurring, they will be dealt with in a different manner. PAL. The PAL, unfortunately, with COVID and the result of other things, the PAL is not closed down on Gates Avenue. It is still active. If anybody has not had the opportunity to see so yet, there is a state-of-the-art, brand-new facility that was built in the borough of Brooklyn.
Yeah, I know, you gotta go on
Unfortunately,
both
over East New York on
sides.
Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay,
However,
cool.
after school every day, there are
917.
Okay, I'm good.
activities
Go ahead,
that go on.
917.
There's music
917
classes, there's basketball programs,
573-4231.
There's after-school tutoring, which is all
Let me give it.
hand in hand with.
And that's the
police
email
officers and
address.
police department. My community affairs officer here.
Okay, I got
Officer
you.
Martinez wants.
Got it?
Yes, I have. Thank you.
Cool.
I was looking for you the whole week to see because I want to educate the guys on the Fourth Amendment rights because the cops come up there and be stopping the person do that crap. And you don't know they. We got to educate our. I tell you, we got to educate our community, bro. You know what I mean? We got to educate ourselves on what our rights are. There's a lot of guys don't know their rights.
Doing better in school, they are currently ongoing, and there has been significant investments by the police department and other city agencies in getting a state-of-the-art facility built in general vicinity of Bed-Stuy. Lord.
Hi, I'm Detective Martinez. I'm gonna piggyback off what the woman said over there about she's not as old as she looks. I'm actually 40 years old, and like
Lies.
like the inspector said, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. I'm a Brooklyn native. I'm a Hispanic female. I've been working already now. As of January, I have 6 years left to retire. So I've been working with the youth a long time. So when the gentleman stated that, he doesn't see the cops having too much community police involvement when it comes to the children and the youth, I did school safety for 7 years, and then I became a youth officer on the 79th precinct. We have a summer camp there that we run there every year that the list is over the capacity. We have 30 children, we take them all around the city. We were with them twice a month, July and August, every summer, and we provide our own pockets, t-shirts for these children, lunch. We would take them out to eat every day. We take them to the Statue of Liberty, to the beach, to the museums, to bowling, you name it, these kids went everywhere. And a lot of people in the community got a whiff of it, that we were doing this program with our kids. And if you look on our Twitter site too, you can see a lot of the photos that we did with a lot of these children in the community. And like I said, we wanted to take more, but unfortunately we're not funded, and a lot of it was out of our pockets. But we did it now for the last 3 years that I was the youth officer, and we took 30 children on trips and spent 9 to 5, Monday through Friday with these children. We also have PAL, Bigs and Blue.
There'll be more people on this block.
NCOs, our Officer DS, who's the auxiliary coordinator, we all do Bigs and Blue. We go to the PAL Center on Gates, and we meet with these children every week, and we spend time with them. And it's not because we want to do it. It's not because we have to do it, but we want to do it. Because like I said, I'm born and raised in Brooklyn, and I love the children. I have a 20-year-old son myself. So I took this job because I love dealing with the community, but first, it comes from my heart when it comes to the youth. Also, we have YLC, Youth Leadership Council Program. I used to go to Job Corps every week and meet with a lot of these teenagers and help them. A lot of schools know us, so it's kind of like, like the gentleman said, we have to kind of get to know each other instead of pointing the finger, as far as a lot of us are one way, but if you get to know a lot of us officers, which I'm sure you guys didn't know who I am, but if you ask about me around the community, a lot of people are going to know who I am. And
Jogging, walking, trying to do some exercise, went around Tompkins Park. I did 4 laps. There was a cop on the corner, and not once did he ever look at me. Okay, so
Take a picture of who?
in law enforcement,
What you said, Mom?